Today we're making red lentil soup with the Yemenite flavors that are just incredible.
And we have a trick for you that's gonna make this so much easier.
Let's go.
Let's go.
This red lentil soup is so simple, but at the same time, it holds a pretty complex flavor profile.
The key to this flavorful soup is all the spices that we use.
We're gonna talk about all the spices in a bit, but first,
Let's start prepping.
so we're gonna start by chopping one onion.
And as you're chopping all the vegetables for this soup, you wanna make sure that they're uniform and kind of small. A good rule of thumb is whatever kind of soup you're making, your vegetables should be the size of the protein in the soup, or in this case, the lentil or a bean. You know, you're eating it like a soup on a spoon.
How do you eat it? Between 2 to 4 carrots, depending on their size,
2 or 3 stalks of celery.
and about 5 garlic cloves.
Perfect.
We're also gonna add to all these vegetables 2 to 4 potatoes. Today I have these tiny potatoes, so I'm just gonna scrub them and chop them to little cubes.
Perfect.
Or Danielle will chop them to little cube.
All right, I'm done.
Let's go cook.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're gonna put some olive oil. Make sure you let it heat up a little bit. And we're just gonna add all of our vegetables that we just chopped. Simply gonna let it saute for about 10 minutes to get everything a little softer before we add the rest of the ingredients. And it's just that easy.
In the meantime, while we're sauteing the vegetables, you want to rinse 2 cups of your red lentils.
And kind of go through them. Make sure you don't see any unwanted pieces.
Sometimes there's rocks.
Right.
Okay, we've been cooking the vegetables for about 10 minutes and they're starting to soften, but not too much. You really don't want them too soft before we added the water and cook the soup. So at this point, we're going to turn down the heat a little bit so we don't burn anything, and we're just going to add the rest of the ingredients.
We're going to add 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of our spice mix.
And the mix that we use includes turmeric, cumin, a bit of cardamom, paprika, coriander or thyme, and some garlic powder. But if you want to make things a bit easier, check out our super spice blend in our online store. Anyway, we're also going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt and some freshly ground pepper.
One more thing you can add is spicy paprika or a little bit of cayenne pepper. We're cooking to a household with kids, so we're gonna avoid that today.
Yes.
But feel free to add a little bit of heat to this soup. It works really well. So we're adding our 2 cups of lentils
Washed lentils.
and about 8 cups of broth or water. My favorite thing is just to mix water and broth. We're adding 1 quart of broth, 4 more cups of water. As we're adding the water, you can judge and see if it's enough liquid for you. It will really depend on how many vegetables you put in. So this amount might change a little bit. So I have about half a cup left here.
Yeah, because you can always add a little more later.
So we're gonna let it boil and then lower it to a simmer for 30 minutes. We are about halfway through with our lentil soup. The lentils, of course, are still a little bit crunchy, but
We added another teaspoon of salt.
yeah, let's taste it.
Let's see if it's enough.
And as you can see, it gets pretty thick. If you want it stewy, just leave it as is. If you want it more soupy with more liquid, add more liquid. In this stage, in the middle of your cooking, assess your liquids. You can always add more water, and you will need to add more spices if you do. But if you like the consistency with the liquids, all you need to do is close the pot, and you're gonna keep the consistency of the soup while continuing cooking it. Danielle, the soup is ready.
The soup is ready. Oh, smell it. FYI, all those spices, those yellow spices,
Mostly the turmeric.
they stain everything. Be careful. Look how beautiful that is. The moment we've been waiting for.
Soup is done.
Let's eat.
Let's eat.
You too, you too.
And just as we were making it, the weather outside became really kind of gloomy, and this is just perfect.
It's like soul warming.
Yep. It's kind of thick, and this is for me the ideal consistency. And I will mention that we did close the pot somewhere around the middle of the cooking process, so it retained the liquids like we said before.
So good.
As Danielle keeps on eating the soup, I'm going to remind you that we're going to put a full list of the spices in the description below.
But make sure you check out our store.
The link is right here. I'm just too hungry.
Let's go.